rosy glow here. So today we're going to do a little work on our legs. So if you've got tired and achy legs, maybe you've been doing a little bit of different exercise, maybe you've taken up running or more running to get you out of the house, or maybe you've not been doing anything and your legs are feeling a little bit tired and restless from sitting down and being out of your usual routine, then this is going to help. You're going to need a towel or a blanket that you can roll like this, or a strap or belt. You're going to need maybe a cushion, and if you have yoga blocks, grab those. If not, then maybe some chunky books. You may need them, you may not, but just have them nearby. I will pause whilst you go and get all of that stuff ready. So here we are. We've just come in from our run, let's just pretend we have, even if you haven't, it's all good, nobody's going to know. So you're probably feeling quite G'd up if you've been for your run. All that adrenaline and blood is rushing around the body, everything feels good. Woo! That was a crazy run, right? Okay, so we're just going to take some time to ground, to settle. So bring your feet hip width apart, and we'll just start with our breath. Always a good place to start. So nice breath in, take the arms up, out wide, reach high, and as you exhale, bring the hands down through the center, and we do that again, breathing in, nice big breath, and exhale. Keep going. Gradually letting the breath slow down. Let's do one more nice breath in, reach high, and exhale. Bring the hands down, rest one hand on the chest and one hand on the lower belly. Close your eyes here, or just lower your gaze. And just notice the calming of the breath. Maybe you can notice the steadying of your heartbeat. And letting all of that energy that you've created from your run or your exercise, just letting that settle into the body, to your muscles. One more breath here. Noticing the grounding through your feet, how we lengthen up from the soles of the feet all the way up the muscles of the legs, the hips, the torso, the sides of the body, back of the neck, right up to the crown of the head. Nice stuff. And then just release your hands. And this is where we're going to take our towel or strap or blanket, whatever you have. Even a jumper is fine. You can just kind of roll it around. So we have our feet a little bit wider than hip width apart, a little bit of softness in the knees, so we're not locked. And we just take a nice breath up, take the hands up, have your hands a little bit wider than your shoulders. And as you exhale, engage your tummy muscles and just leaning over to your left. And inhale, coming back up. Exhale, same way, taking it over to the left. And again. And over to the left. And then just hold here. You might even want to gently pulse. But just noticing that lengthening coming into the right side of the body. Notice where you feel it. Notice what's going on with your pelvis. So I'm going to come sideways on. Sometimes you may find you have a tendency to stick the bum out here. So you're arching the lower back, or you may have a tendency to tuck it under too much and you're rounding into the lower back. So we want to be somewhere in the middle. We want to be in a nice neutral place, and not too much sticking the bum out, not too much tucking it under, and just containing the front ribs, finding that nice lengthening over to the side. Good job. Now come back up to the center, take a nice breath in, exhale, release the hands down, give the shoulders a bit of a shrug-a-roo, nice bit of rolling movement. And we'll go again. Inhale, take the hands up, and this time we go over to the right. As you exhale, leaning over, some nice long arms, engaging the tummy. And inhale, coming back up. Exhale, same way over to the right. So grounding down through your feet. That left heel is really grounding down. Coming back up on an inhale and exhale, going back over to your left, and then just pausing here, so maybe a little pulse, or maybe just holding. Find a comfortable place for your neck. You can look down, look forward, look up, wherever it works best for you. And again, just containing the front ribs and finding that nice neutral place for your pelvis. No sticky out bums. Good job. And coming back up to the center, we're going to bring a little bit of movement in here. So soften the knees a little bit. And we just begin to roll around to the left, sweep around to the right, and come back up. And keep going. So we want engagement in the tummy here. So we're not unnecessarily loading the back. And then we'll reverse it the other way. So leaning over to the right, sweeping around to the left. Nice and soft in the knees. So not locking out the knee joint. Good job. And come all the way up. Release those arms down. Give the shoulders a nice little shrug-a-roo. Okay, take your hands a little bit wider on your towel or your strap, whatever you're using. Take the arms up and then let it slide as much as it needs to. So sliding between the hands as we take the arms all the way back and over. Now if this doesn't work for you, don't worry, please don't force it. You're just going to come to a place where you can hold. So you feel like you're getting a bit of an opening and lengthening across the chest, across the collarbones, working into those tight pec muscles. And then we'll come all the way back up and over. So if you are able to do the complete loop, taking it up and easing it over, take it slow, so we're not jarring the elbows or the shoulders, we're being careful, working sensitively. Good, and just do this a few more times in your own time. So if things are beginning to ease, you might want to walk your hands in a little bit. We're talking centimeters here. And maybe you can notice, where the tightness is. Maybe one shoulder feels different to the other. Notice if there's a tendency to seesaw or floss. Try not to do that. So if that's happening, then maybe you just come here and pause. Good job. One more, bringing it all the way up. And over. Nice. So we can pop that to one side. And we're going to come to a wall. I should have said it's helpful if you can be near a wall. If not, near a sofa or a worktop of some kind. We're going to come, so the hands come against the wall or the sofa or the worktop about waist height. And you're going to begin to walk the legs out. So we're keeping the feet wide, maybe as wide as your mat, and then finding this length through the body. So length from the tailbone all the way up the spine, at the back of the neck to the base of the skull. And just pausing here. So you can actively push the hands into the wall to get that length through the arms as well. Engage your tummy muscles, so we're not kind of hanging here. We're creating a nice engaged, steady, long spine. And maybe you just begin to rock a little bit side to side in the hips. So quite a subtle movement. Just easing into those hamstrings. They've worked hard today. If you've been for a run, you may be feeling it a little bit. And then we can begin to just explore. So try turning the toes outwards and see how that feels. Always working sensitively. And then turning the toes inwards and the heels outwards. Oh, hello, IT bands. Whew. Maybe you're able to get a little bit of sideways movement through the hips, but don't worry if it's too much. This one's always a little bit perky for me. So we dial into the breath at these perky moments when everything lights up a little bit. Oh my. There's a tendency to want to hold the breath, try to keep it moving. Good job, and then turn the toes forwards. Walk your way up. A little squeeze of the glutes. Ooh. Nice, and then walk the feet forwards. Okay, so we're going to bring our elbows against the wall. Our forearms are against the wall, slide them down a little bit and then begin to walk out. So you may not walk out so far, but we're trying to keep the elbows in line with the shoulders and then just allowing the head and the chest to ease down in between the shoulders. And holding here, breathing here. So just trying to release any tightness that's come into the upper body. Whether or not you've been running. So when we run, we can carry quite a bit of tightness in our upper body and our shoulders. Or if you found that you've been sitting a lot, then we may have a lot of tension there, just from being a bit inactive. Couple more breaths. Good job, and let me ease your way up. Walk the feet in. And we're going to come to do a little bit of movement on the mat now. So coming to stand at the end of your mat and breathing in, take the hands up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come halfway up. Squeeze your elbows up, little mountain peaks. And exhale, fold. So allow as much of a bend in your knees as you need to. Inhale, rise all the way up. Do that a couple more times. Exhale, fold, hinging from your hips. Inhale, halfway up. Squeeze the elbows up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way up. And last one, exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sweep the hands up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Very nice. Inhale, take the hands up. Exhale, fold. And I'm going to take a nice big step back with the left foot. And just pausing here for a moment. So to find that length through the body from the back heel all the way up the back leg, all the way up through the spine, back of the neck to the crown of the head. You might even want to hover your fingers here. Engage your tummy muscles. It's all good. Breathe. Nice. 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands down to the mat and lower that back knee down. So if you can, we want the hips to be moving forwards a little bit. Rather than having the knee here beneath the hip, just so we want to get a little bit of lengthening going into this back thigh, into the left thigh, the left quad. And just begin to rock backwards and forwards here. Now, if you want to, if you have blocks or books, I'm just going to grab my blocks. And you can be using those here to give you a little bit of extra support. You might feel you're able to get more into the legs if you work with your blocks. So we're going to keep this front foot flat to begin with. So as we take the hips back, we're lengthening the chest forwards. And holding here, just breathing, lengthening through the back of the neck. Engaging the tummy muscles. If you can, spread your toes on that front foot. Whoa, get a little bit of space going in between the toes. Just to wake up the muscles in the feet. They've also been working very hard, taking a bit of a pounding if you've been for your run. Nice, and then we can begin to peel those toes back. Maybe the hips come back a little bit further, just so that we feel that stretch come into the back of the leg. Keep breathing, keep lengthening through the spine, so try not to let this rounding of the back happen, but sending the hips back, engaging the tummy muscles. If you want to fire things up a little bit, we're going to reach the hands forwards, hold it here, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very nice, roll forwards, plant that foot, bring the hands down to the mat. Left hand plants into the mat. Inhale, open up the right arm, lengthen it up. Breathe. So if you want to, you can wrap this arm behind, maybe tucking it into the waist and working on peeling back this top shoulder. See what feels good. Maybe here's just right today. I'm going to turn the right toes outwards a little bit. And if there's space to move, if the joints will allow, then this knee can begin to ease out to the side. Maybe the foot rolls onto its baby toe edge, but only if it feels okay. If there's no space for it to move into, if the bones are blocking, then that's okay. We don't force through bone, that wouldn't be good. Just breathing here wherever you are. Good work, and then come back to the center, turn the toes forwards. Plant your hands, tuck the back toes, power up that back leg. And we'll add a little switcheroo in here. So a little jump, switch over. And holding here in a nice lunge. So we're pushing back the back heel, powering up the back thigh, engaging the tummy muscles, lengthening through the spine, back of the neck, maybe hovering the fingers. Or maybe if you have your blocks handy, you just rest on your blocks. See if you can hover for a few breaths. Just exploring what might be there. Testing our limits. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lovely stuff. Bring the hands down, lower that back knee. And then we just begin to rock the hips backwards and forwards. This is where you can use your blocks or your books if you want to. And we're keeping this front foot planted to begin with. Sending the hips back, rocking them forwards. Good. And then we'll take the hips back and just pause here. So the front foot is planted, the hips are sending back, tummy is engaged, and we're lengthening through the spine. Reaching the chest forwards. And if you want to, see if you can get a bit of space in between those toes. breath going, notice that tendency to want to hold the breath, or if it gets tight, just see if you can dial back into that nice and smooth rhythmic breath. And then we'll begin to peel those toes back, taking that stretch and that lengthening into the back of the legs. Hello, hamstrings. And you can notice the little habits, little patterns in the body, particularly in our lunges. So our hips might cheat a little bit. Our body might be finding little cheats, little ways to cheat the stretch. So you might find your hips are kinking out to one side. Just see if you can level them up and notice any differences that makes. Might also notice the way that your foot pulls back. There's one edge pulling back more than the other. Quite often for me, my big toe edge is more dominant and my foot will kind of curl. So I have to work to make sure my baby toe edge is pulling back. And that's where the fire is. Woo, that's where it gets lively. Good job. And then if we want to hold here, we're going to lengthen forwards, engage the tummy muscles, breathe. Holding it here. 3, 2, 1. Very nice. Rock forwards, plant the right hand down and inhale, take that left hand up. Opening up to the left, reaching the fingertips up to the ceiling, maybe give them a little wiggle, get the energy up there. Option to wrap that arm behind, whatever feels best for you. And I'm going to turn the left toes outwards, and if there's space, we ease that left knee out. So for me here, I'm getting a nice little bit of a stretch in the adductors and the inner thigh. You might feel it in other places. Just watch the breath. Keep the chest open. Good job. And then turn those toes forwards. Pop your blocks to one side. And we'll step it back into our downward dog. Oh, yay. Hello, downward dog. So you can move around a bit here, maybe add a little bit of plankage in, maybe not, maybe just pedaling out the feet. Allow the feet to be quite wide here. Let's be generous, give ourselves a nice wide downward dog. Come up onto the tiptoes and ease the heels down. Just exploring what you have today in your downward dog, how everything's feeling, your little check-in point. Well done. And then lower the knees, bring the toes together, knees wide, ease the hips back into your child's pose. So for many runners, just settle in your child's pose as best you can whilst I talk. For many runners, you might have tightness in the front of the shin and the top side of the foot and ankle, and so coming into child's pose doesn't feel that restful for some. Maybe you get cramp in the feet when you come into child's pose. So the more you do child's pose, that should ease, but there you can try and just do some things to help. So a nice soft blanket underneath the feet can sometimes be enough. You could roll it into a little sausage just to give you a little bit of extra cushioning there, and that can be enough to help. You could also, you can have blocks underneath the bum to give you something to settle onto, so you're not coming so far back. But we want the upper body to feel like it's resting. Taking a nice breath in, filling the belly, and sighing it out, just staying in your child's pose. A couple breaths more. Take a nice breath in, and out. job. And walk your hands back up. Sit the hips over to one side. And bring the right leg out in front of you. We're going to cross the left leg over. Now, if you can, you're going to bring that left knee on top of your right knee. And this foot just comes out to the side. Now, you might be up here, that's fine. Just work where you are. It's all good. This might be enough, so you're just going to focus on sitting nice and tall. Or you can add a little bit more spice by lassoing your foot with your blanket or your strap, sitting nice and tall, and then using it to draw the chest forwards. You may feel it coming into the calf, maybe the Achilles. So just again, work sensitively, breathe. You may even take hold of the edges of your feet if your hands come there comfortably, but don't worry, we can use the blanket, the towel, the strap to help us ease here. One more breath. And we'll swap over. Good job. And ease your way up. Swap over, so extending the left leg out. Crossing the right knee over. And just letting this foot come out to the side. Nestling that knee wherever it comes. Don't worry if it's high, it might be completely different on each side. And then again, drawing the toes back on your extended leg and lassoing your foot. So we really want to find length through the spine here. If we round the back, then there's not a lot going on really. So we want to make sure we've got that length going through the spine. We're sitting tall, and this may be where we stay. If there's space and we're able to, then we can begin to hinge from the hips, reach the chest forwards. Oh, hello calf. Well done. One more breath. And walking the hands back up. Coming to lie down on your back. Drawing the knees in towards you and just making some nice little circles here. Letting the back settle. And we're going to cross the right thigh over the left. So right thigh over the left, crossing at the top of the thighs if you can. So we can begin with just drawing our knees in towards us. That's maybe where the work is for us today. Or you have the option to slide your hands down and take hold of your ankles or the edges of your feet, and then begin to draw them outwards and upwards. So we're trying to keep the lower back nestling on the floor, and just drawing the feet outwards and upwards. So it's like you're tying yourself up in a bow, making a pretty little package. And breathing here. But again, we have the options. If that's too much, and just take hold of the knees, begin to work your way down your shins and just seeing what's there. One more breath. And release. Let's cross over the other way, left thigh over the right. Start at the knees, drawing them in, and then working your way down the shins. Maybe getting to the ankles, maybe getting to the feet, and then you can draw the feet outwards and upwards like you're tying yourself in a pretty little bow. Good job. And then unwind. Let's bring the soles of the feet together. Rest them down on the mat and just allow your knees to drop out to the side, coming into reclined Baddha Konasana. Just taking a couple moments here. So if this is too much for the inner thighs and for your adductors, You can use your blocks or your blankets to just wedge up against the sides of the hips, and that can help create a little bit of support there. So we want to find a place where we are able to soften and let go. If you don't have blocks or books, you can use your hands, bring your fists here, and that can sometimes be enough to just help support there. Noticing if you're holding, gripping in the inner thighs, and just seeing if you're able to gradually soften, release, ease. Maybe one feels tighter than the other. Maybe one's more stubborn. Letting the breath travel to the lower belly, feeling the belly rise and fall. And use your hands to guide your knees back together. Draw the knees in towards you. Take your hands out in a T shape. And we have options here. You can wrap the right thigh over the left and then roll your knees over to the left. If that's too much, then just stack your knees together, keeping them together and letting them rest down to the left. You can take your gaze over your right shoulder. Trying to settle the shoulder blades. Feeling that nice openness coming into the right side of the body, the right ribs, waist. And letting the legs be heavy and soft. Trying to release any gripping. Take a nice breath in. Fill the belly, let the ribs expand. Sigh out through the mouth. Nice, and we'll take it to the other side, bringing those knees all the way up. So again, option if you want to wrap the left thigh over the right and then roll the knees over to your right, or just allow the knees to stack. And then trying to let the legs be heavy, let them soften. You can take your gaze over your left shoulder, down your left arm. Letting the breath fill the body, letting the ribs expand. Letting the shoulders soften. Take a nice breath in and sigh it out through the mouth. Good. And then bringing the knees back up to the center, unwinding. And we'll take a nice little happy baby. So if you can, you take both hands around the outside edges of your feet. Your knees come wide, so you're feeding your arms up in between the knees. And then taking the soles of the feet up. The knees draw down towards your shoulders. Trying to keep as much of the spine on the mat as you can. So if you find that your hips are rocking up like this, try and ease them back down. So it may be that doing a happy baby with both feet is too much, which case do one at a time. Half happy baby, oh, that's a happy, really happy place to be. And you can really work on drawing that foot down, the knee down towards the mat. So maybe doing half happy baby on each side. And then when you're ready, letting those legs come down, finding your happy place for your Shavasana. So you may want to come back into Baddha Konasana with the knees dropping out. You may want to pop some cushions under your knees, so you can be in a little bit of a supported Shavasana, or just letting the limbs lengthen out, coming down onto your mat and settling here. And just taking these few precious moments at the end of your yoga practice to welcome the stillness. It can be so beneficial for our nervous system to let it find this calming place where we're able to heal and repair and restore mind and body and soul. So guys, I'm going to leave you here in your lovely, comforting Shavasana. Stay as long as you like. You're at home. Thank you for joining me. Stay safe, keep calm, and until next time, namaste.